Wow. Yeah, good evening. Welcome to this, I was going to say bonus Tulsi, the podcast then. Bonus Elite FPL video walk up on Dartmoor, because I basically need to walk off my Chinese, and I thought I'd just do a little video about today's events, which I don't really know much about. But so obviously today started off with, well, Mancity up against Crystal Palace and the talk around whether or not Foden would be starting, although there were links quotes from, sorry, I'm just admiring how peaceful it is. Yeah, there were quotes from Pep Guardiola basically saying that he ain't going to be playing, basically. So obviously people like Andrew, who came on the channel yesterday, brilliant chat, I'll talk about that in a minute, but people like Andrew concerned about whether or not he'll start or not for his bench boost that he was going to be playing. And I don't know whether or not Andrew did play his bench boost in the end with Foden in the team, although I do believe actually he went through with the move of Foden out for Diaz. I believe that was one of the moves he did, and yeah, so he benefited obviously from the, again, not really linked team news, but certainly early team news, shall we say, prior to today's matches. And yeah, I knew that I was going to be going out with my brother and his son, and basically prior to that I had to take out my brother's dog, and I just put on Mark Goldbridge just to listen into the Mancity Crystal Palace game, and he was just going on and on about, oh my god, this is amazing, I can't believe how well Crystal Palace are playing, this is an end-to-end game. And it was 2-0 by this point, and then Eze had an opportunity where he made it 3-0. Just utterly insane. Of course that was ruled out, and it almost, I don't know, may have brought Man City into life. I think they may have realised, hold on a minute here, hold on, now hold on, as he says in Fawlty Towers, now look here, hold on, oh no, that's, now hold on, that's in extras, isn't it? Of course, Greg, now hold on, it says here that he needs to be 35. Yeah, I thought it meant between 35 and 40. We'll change it to 40. Hold on, it says it needs to be 40. Can we get on with it? So, yeah, it's almost like it sparked Man City into life. Kevin De Bruyne pops up with a free kick. Apparently Henderson should have done better. And then it was just the floodgates opening. I listened up to 2-2 where Marmoush scored, and I was just like, I'm turning it off. I've got to get back to my brother's house, put the dog away, and watch wrestling. Stick on what turned out to be 3 hours of SmackDown. Obviously I don't watch it because I think today's WWE is absolutely atrocious. So why do you put it on then? To see if The Rock will turn up, which he didn't. So I was just skipping through 3 hours worth of TV to see if The Rock turns up, and he doesn't even turn up. Brilliant. So I'm assuming it'd be next week on SmackDown he turns up. But anyhow, we then drive down to where we need to drive to, and yeah, it turned out that the score ends up being 5-2, which is just ridiculous. Of course, that gives us the potential of options regarding someone like Kevin De Bruyne. Maybe Kevin De Bruyne could be somebody as a wild card punt. Certainly with mine and Ray's options moving forward with the double game week 33, which of course we have a lot of teams which I think we're all going to be guessworking out regarding who bloody plays or not. Of course, there was a lot of talk around if Rodgers is going to play today or not. Turns out he did. I can't get my head around seeing that Asensio. I thought I was misreading things. I was like, what? Asensio's missed 2 penalties. Sorry, I know I find this highly ironic that there's an idiot like me on the moors talking into a poxy camera, but I'm in the middle of nowhere, so to speak, and there's someone. I can't be filming other people, so I'm just going to turn around. It's just fucking mental. I always say this whenever I'm on the moors. It doesn't matter where you go, it always ends up with somebody being in your area. It's just fucking insane. Oh, just swore then. Anyhow, so yeah, with Asensio, yeah, I looked at it and I was like, 2 penalties missed. A what? Am I reading this right? Does it mean that he was given a penalty and it wasn't awarded because of VAR? No, he just wasn't given a penalty. Oh, sorry, he missed 2 penalties, which is just absolutely absurd, considering he was my cheeky punt for the upcoming double. And I did say about he could be the one to get in, and then obviously that happens. I wonder if any idiots decided to take that advice. No, we didn't, Steve-o. We don't listen to a fucking word you say. Yeah, I don't blame you. So, obviously the Man City game ended, and like I say, we come out of it thinking maybe Kevin De Bruyne could be actually an option, which certainly is like I said, I think could be a really, really good option. I think I might even say to Ray, like, I think we should just get Kevin De Bruyne in for that particular run. And then it came to the 3 o'clock kickoffs, and I think the only hope I had from these games was because of rivals, i.e. Firetog, for instance, who, I tell you what, Firetog has had some stinking rotten luck. I wondered why he'd been quiet for a while, but he's had some stinking luck over the last several game weeks, but today just tops it off, although I do believe he does get Marmoush off the bench. But on his bench it was something like Pickford, Marmoush, Diaz and O'Brien of Everton, and yeah, Pickford, yeah. So he had basically all these people that played bench boost. So far, it hasn't particularly worked out that great. It's done okay, but nothing particularly special. That Firetog, who has played a chip, but that was the assistant manager chip. He played that last week. Obviously, can't play a chip this week. It's on Eddie Howe, who I don't know how this is going to work out, because Eddie Howe isn't technically going to be at pitch side because he's going to be in hospital due to ill health. So I don't know. I'm assuming the game's just going to come out and say, look, we're just going to see it as Newcastle as a team. So if they beat Man United or whatever the result is, they will basically get the points for Eddie Howe. But if it is classified as Eddie Howe basically out, then again, that's a kick in the bollocks for people like Firetog that played the assistant manager chip. You couldn't make it up. I mean, it's good enough for me from a rivalry point of view, but Jason, he actually, I've discovered, took a -12, another one. He brought in Martinez, so 6 points. Dan Byrne, can't comment on. Who else was there? Dan Byrne, can't comment on. I can't even remember. Vardiol, I think. And someone else, I genuinely cannot remember. But he took a -12, and yeah, it seems to have near enough paid off thanks to Martinez, to be honest with you, getting half the points back. And yeah, I think Dan didn't even realise what was going on, because Dan he has kept the captaincy on Salah. So wouldn't that be a laugh for Dan if Salah actually came through with a double-digit return, and us idiots that have captained, or triple captained in my case, Isaac gets less points than Salah. That would sum up my season, I think, full stop. If I'm completely honest with you, I think that would actually sum up my season full stop. I think I'm going to go over, not that you can see anything. Ironically, the camera's making this really dark. It's not even that dark, to be honest with you. But yeah, I think the big talking point from today's match is 3 p.m. kickoffs, Aston Villa winning, whatever. It was Nottingham Forest conceding a 94th minute goal. Thankfully, I see Harry had double Nottingham Forest defence, but that is just an absolute kick in the bollocks again. I think that it's bordering on just... You just got to laugh. To be honest, you really do just have to laugh about the fact that that actually happened regarding that, because I saw that it was 0-0 in, like, I don't know, like the 81st minute. I checked my phone to see what the results were, and I saw it was, I don't know, 2-2 or 2-1 to Brighton. Like I stated, 0-0 between Nottingham Forest and Everton. I saw that Everton had a penalty overruled or a goal overturned or something like that from VAR. And I'm just thinking, okay, we got away with that. And then the next time I checked, which was at 17:01, and Everton scoring. Just, I've said this for a few videos. There are teams like Nottingham Forest that I think they're running out of steam. At the wrong time, they're running out of steam, and I'm wondering if now will they hold on to the Champions League spot? I really have no idea. And then, of course, you've got the likes of Aston Villa and Newcastle and Chelsea and Mancity. Even though I wouldn't go down that route of Mancity, we're chasing them down. It's more, like I stated, the likes of Newcastle, Aston Villa and Chelsea that are really going to be challenging Nottingham Forest for that last place in the Champions League, because obviously it's going to be Liverpool, yeah, Arsenal, yeah, Man City, of course, and then I've still back Nottingham Forest, of course I do, to get it, but with the fact that they've got the FA Cup still to play for, and the fact that their results just haven't been good enough of late, I think that they're running out of time. I think they really do need to start trying to cement their places intact. And I think what I'm looking at over there, if I zoom in, and this is going to be the worst zoom in, I think that could be the moon. In fact, I can almost guarantee that is the moon. That is going to look again, this camera doesn't do justice how big that actually is. It really does no justice. Shame that, because as David Brent says. Yeah, I think Nottingham Forest are just now running out of steam, and then Aston Villa, they've got a lot of fingers and a lot of pies, and they're still going to be challenging all fronts, but it's a question of which players to get. Obviously, the popular ones like Ollie Watkins, who came on and scored today, he's going to be a popular option. Rodgers, of course, as well. And these are players that me and Ray are going to have to look at. But their next two fixtures, Newcastle and Man City, they're crap. They're crap. There's no two ways about it. So they're a team to be looking at, but also in the back of the mind, you've got to be thinking, but which players to choose from. Obviously, the safest two options, in my opinion, are probably Watkins and, well, apart from defenders, specifically Konza and Martinez. But from an attacking perspective, Rodgers is probably number one. Then it's Watkins. And then you're looking at Asensio would be probably next on the list, really. And then Rashford. Remember him? And then, yeah, you had the Brighton. I know Firetog had Estupinan in his team, Matoma not turning up, so he gets Marmoush off the bench. So a few people. I think Alex Volo's getting. In fact, I know he's getting Marmoush and Vardiol off the bench because Matoma and Foden didn't play, so they're coming on for him. And it's just the fucking fact that these people are benching Marmoush and they're still getting points. So that's what pisses me off. And yet twats like me, when I've got a player that's been benched and it's a top class player, 1 point, 2 points. One of the few things, it's one of the many things that frustrate the shit out of me with this game. Anyway, so they're going to get him on, thanks to the fact that those players didn't play for Brighton. And yeah, certainly with which way to go? I know where I'm going, but okay, so what a beautiful tree. Again, doesn't really do it justice, what it looks like. But yeah, 2-2 with Leicester, that is fucking shocking. I think, what is that? Leicester have scored more goals in that one game than they've scored in the last 20. Not literally, but you know what I mean. And then that ending 2-2 again. I think that people that did punt on Brighton assets, with the likes of Verbruggen, Estupinan, Matoma, whatever, it's just fucking unlucky. I know, again, Alex Volo having Pedro 2 penalties. That's what really sickens me, is when people have these penalty takers, and they're, again, I'm still bitter about it. Fucking Palmer missing the one time he gets a shitty penalty. Extremely fucking frustrating. Genuinely is frustrating. Had a piss take, to be completely frank. And yeah, finally we have I predicted it on Super Brew. I went I think I put 2-2 actually, but I said to Ray 1-1, 2-2, 1-0 Arsenal. So I didn't expect it to be a high scoring game. I mean, when it was 0-0, you couldn't make it up. 2 minutes after I said to my mum that this game is ending 0-0. It was written in the stars, and of course Declan Rice goes and assists. Brilliant, a beautiful counter-attack from Arsenal. Raya onto Declan Rice, onto Partey, goal. And yeah, it ends up being 1-1. Vissa, I see, was the guy that got the goal. Just come down. Oh. Here we are again. So yeah, this is my peaceful spot. So yeah, ending 1-1. Arsenal, look, they're going to, as Ray said on a voice message, have to throw all their eggs into one basket now when it comes to, obviously, with the Champions League. So it's, like I stated, with the upcoming double game week with, was it Crystal Palace and Ipswich for Arsenal? For me, looking at it, it's going to be coming out of today for double game week 33. I think we've already got Henderson. I mean, for free hit, it'll probably be Raya, Saliba or Kivior, or probably Saliba and Saka. It's very boring, but it'll be them three most likely. Man City, Vardy and Marmouche, that's it. I don't give a shit about anyone else of their teams. Aston Villa, probably Rodgers and Watkins. Then we've got, this is if we free hit. Then you've got who else? Crystal Palace, I couldn't care less about them. Whatever. Eze at a push. And then whoever else is left. So what is it? Aston Villa, Arsenal, Man City and Crystal Palace, yeah. So really couldn't care less about them. Really. And it's the single game team, so maybe even a case of may not even play the free hit. We've got three free transfers. It could be just looking at it logically and going maybe just either A, save that free hit for 34 or actually build a team for 34 and then use the free hit in 36 but play bench boost in 33. But like I state, coming out of today's games, it's not really bred me with any confidence regarding those double game week teams whatsoever. Anyhow. Oh yeah, I wanted to say about the conversation that me and Andrew had last night. I really did genuinely enjoy it. I find having conversations that are, I'm stating the obvious, that you have natural rapport with the person that you're talking to is always a massive help, and Andrew clearly has the same sort of similar sense of humour to me, and as we stated on the video last night, it is going to be something that I am going to be probably missing if I don't play the game next year, the Zoom calls or the ninja calls in our case, but they're things I miss, having conversations with people, as he joked, over the internet and chatting about things that, you know, you're passionate about, basically. Really enjoyed that conversation last night. And certainly, of course, we did touch upon Mark Southern's leave, and I'll just pause it here a second. Yeah, we touched upon the fact that about Mark Southern's leaving the FPL content creator space to move on to a role within the game itself, which is, again, as he states, is a dream move, and I certainly will. I think there are two things which will be, again, if I play it next year, or certainly for you guys next year, which could be pricing and clarification on the assists. I'm wondering if he'll have an impact on that. We need more clear and obvious reasons to be giving a player an assist. I think one of the things as well is, you know, when, for argument's sake, a goalkeeper passes a ball to a player and they run the whole pitch and then score a goal, or even a player just passes a ball to somebody, they run past about 7 or 8 players and then score, and they get given the assist, and you think, well, really an assist though, he passed it at the penalty box. I think that may be a contentious conversation that Mark may have with the team, but certainly the pricing. I know Trigger Lips talks a lot about the pricing and how one of the failings of this game of recent years has just been how crap the pricings have been. It's always, again, to use that terminology again, it's always a contentious conversation piece around how much players should be. I just think that it should be a bit more, as we always keep talking about every single bloody year, allow us to have the conversation about, oh, is it Salah, is it Haaland? Oh, do I go with Palmer? Do I go with Saka? Not, oh, I can have both. And certainly around I think this year though, they got it right with the defenders, I think around with the defenders, they got that pretty much nailed, but you know, I think that he will certainly have a lot of influence around that. And on that note, I'm just going to leave you with that view over there.